If you are born into an environment that is full of poverty, full of lack, where you basically have nothing, as far as you're concerned as a kid, that's normal. Until somebody shows you different, as far as you're concerned, this is how life is. Are we going to eat today, or are we only going to eat tomorrow? Where are we going to get our water from? The country's in drought, the lakes are dry, the water's dried up. How are we going to get by day? So Children's Cup comes in and we suddenly say, you don't have a cup. I give you a cup. The first response from that kid is, what's a cup? The simplicity of the cup, because he's never ever had a cup, he doesn't know what it is. And then you give it to him, and the next hurdle is the belief that that actually belongs to him. You're giving him something. He doesn't believe that, because everything he's ever got's been taken away from him. When we turn around and said, but this is your cup, it's got your name on it, it's your cup, that whole dynamic changed. A new world opened up because of a simplicity of a cup, and a simplicity of, I'm going to guarantee you that you're going to get this cup filled with food every day going forward, and we're going to create a future that you thought you would never ever have.
Africa is such a special place. Even though they live in some of the hardest circumstances on the planet, they still have this heart of gratitude. And you walk onto the property of a care point, you can walk up, you hear the kids singing. The joy and the love and the happiness at our care points, they become this light in the community.
The care point is a place for the kids to feel safe. They're given food, a place to play. Outside of the care point, they really don't have that. A lot of times it's the only food they get. It's not just food, though. It's to deliver hope in the form of a meal.
All of us from the U.S., we love you. These ladies, they love you. Miss Karen, that she loves you. But who's the most important one is Jesus loves you.
As long as I can remember, my parents were missionaries.
We're Dave and Jean Ohlerking. You may have known me from the telecasts over the several years.
My dad took a job at Jimmy Swaggart Ministries, where he led missions helping thousands of people living in extreme poverty.
That's not snow in the tropics. That's volcanic ash. Mount Pinatubo, that volcano, is called the worst natural disaster to hit this globe. You can see the children here playing on the ruins of their home. The mud came through and totally destroyed it.
And one night, they're just praying about what to do next. They didn't know, but they knew their heart was missions. God had called them to that. That was their lives, and a deep love for kids.
We've had a time of war with Vietnam. It's a time for healing now.
The way they described it to me was, if they could feed 300 or 400 kids and tell them about Jesus, that'd be worth doing.
In a few moments, we'll be seeing the children of this hospital. I know it will be emotional, but I know that you care. You're making a difference by what you help us do. Thank you in Jesus' name.
I got to go with Dad to Vietnam, and in Hanoi, I remember us sitting across from the Surgeon General of the Vietnamese Communist government, sharing tea, even though as Americans we technically weren't even supposed to be there. But I remember looking across, and they're sharing tea, and this guy asked my dad, "Why are you doing this?" And my dad had prepared himself for the question. He knew it was coming. He brought a Bible, and he put that Bible on the table and slid it across the table to this man and said, "This book teaches me to love those who've been called my enemy."
This has been one most exciting morning. We've come to the Central State Hospital, the Viet Duc Hospital in Hanoi, Vietnam. professor and surgeon, the director here, and his associate. I was so thrilled to hear them say, this is the very equipment that we've been needing. We've been wondering how we would ever get it. I remember asking God, what shall we take to the people of Vietnam? And this was what came. It's working right now. Doctor, tell us what this equipment
So for a few years, our focus was the Philippines and Vietnam. But then in the mid-90s, AIDS hit sub-Saharan Africa really hard.
In a Johannesburg hospital, children are learning to play before they die. They're the victims of AIDS, and the luckiest among them will only have 5 years of life. In South Africa, there are 1,500 new cases of infection each day. The epidemic is threatening to wipe out the country's economic development.
Some countries, as many as 40 to 50% of the people were HIV positive. It was devastating. My parents started to pray. They knew they needed to do something. It was so aggressive and destroying so many lives. And as they prayed, God very quickly brought the opportunity for Mom and Dad and Dave and Sharon, some old friends, to work together again in this crisis.
I think it was around about 1986, 87. And I remember meeting Dave Ohlerking the first time. The civil war broke out in Mozambique. And we were actually in Ethiopia trying to learn from the famine and the war in Ethiopia to what was happening in Mozambique. And we worked together for, I'd say, 6, 7 years. And he was our representative. He was our connection. And with his resources, his experience, his background, his connection with the churches in the States, brought all those resources to us. We became the feet on the ground to start working with them, but it was just overwhelming. There was a need within Zimbabwe to try and do something. You have maybe 50, 60,000 people crossing the border. So you're not just talking about feeding a couple of hundred people. You're talking about thousands of people. And who's the first people that come up? The kids come running up to you. You know, there's such a need there, and you look, there's such a need, 35, 40 years ago, I'm still doing the same thing. For us, that's where it started. And I remember sitting with Dave and saying, what's the next step? Where do we go now? Getting back involved in a much smaller way, but again, the focus was still on children in a community. And now with Children's Cup, we're not talking about thousands and thousands of refugees. But when you look at a refugee camp and there's 10, 15,000 kids, and you pan into one child and you look at that child, it's no different today. You go into a care point, you look at the same child. So it's the impact that you have on the life of a child.
And that became the seeds of what we do now, of almost 60 care points around the world in 7 countries, but it all started right there in sub-Saharan Africa. So during that time, Zimbabwe was Children's Cup's entire focus. They're there working on trying to facilitate resourcing the work going on at these 2 former refugee camp primary schools. Dad and Bino both had stepped back in the scale of what they were able to do, but it was the same heart, whether it was feeding hundreds of thousands of people or feeding a few hundred kids. We needed that time in Zimbabwe for Children's Cup's methodology or strategy to kind of come together. But then really when Children's Cup became what Children's Cup is, was in Swaziland. At the time, the situation in Zimbabwe was becoming increasingly difficult for outside organizations to operate. There were more and more checkpoints along the highways. Logistical challenges made it hard to get food where it needed to go. So we made the decision to transition the work that we were doing in Zimbabwe over to a friend, a local pastor who continued to care for those kids. And we were able to move our headquarters to a neighboring country called Swaziland, now called Eswatini. Every time I cross the border into Swaziland, it's like, it's kind of exhale like, it's just such a peaceful place. It's beautiful. There's parts of the country that are covered in pine forest. You got mountains, you got beautiful views. It's just peaceful.
Eswatini is a significant part of the history of Children's Cup. Our country directors, Roger and Mary, are amazing, and I look at their gifts and their talents and their callings and what they are passionate about, what they're designed for, and I just get excited about what's ahead. I've watched Roger and Mary come into leadership with Children's Cup over the last couple of years, and we could not be more excited about where things are going there.
I think for me to be intentional with investing in the future, for me it begins with kids. Some kids, they really don't know what the future holds for them. Those that are a little bit older, they're thinking, does it even matter to be educated if the unemployment rate is so high?
I'm Thando Nhleko. I will say hi first. Thank you for coming out here. We really appreciate and love seeing you guys here. I wish we could even have more of you. It was so nice, hey?
And then also, there's a lot of abuse that is verbally, physically. So you find some kids are exposed to domestic violence that they lose hope in what the future holds for them. The problems at home tend to even play a major role in terms of how they view relationships, how they are being taken care of. If nobody steps in, the kids still amount to nothing, you know. Seeing kids at the age of 4 years, 5 years, just walking by themselves, you know, navigating life and trying to make ends meet at their age with siblings. I think those are some of the things that I started asking myself, what will they turn out to be if there's nobody who's intentional?
So what? Horse? I thought, well, there's two. It's like... Horse, like... I can't do it.
My heart broke a long time ago at Children's Cup. I remember when I got moved to Fontaine Care Point, there were two girls that their mother was never there. Most of the times they were by themselves at night, and the next day they would come to class. Just how much they used to hide that from me until I found out that, oh, the reason you guys are so hungry or like you're so uncared, it was because they're neglected. Once I found that out, the Bomavia stepped in. There's always been lots of abuse cases, and it's very hard to just process that pain and that hurt. You're just feeling so helpless. You know, this kid that will come and tell you what's happening at home, sexual abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse. But at the care point, they can just get to be. They can play and be carefree and just enjoy that time before they have to step back into some of those horrible situations.
Kids are not motivated when there's always negativity around them. There's no positivity. I see kids not even dreaming. But I can safely say if they are just exposed to truth, then they start dreaming again, they start having hope, and they start believing again. As we are helping them, it's not us helping the kids. We are touching the family, we are touching the community, we are touching the country at large.
There's 3 million Swazi people that live just outside the border of Eswatini in South Africa. And our relationship network, as it started to grow working in Eswatini for so long, we started to learn more and more about those people that were living in South Africa, but they're really the same roots of the culture, the same as the people living in Swaziland. So eventually the opportunity came for us to expand outside Eswatini and go to South Africa into some of those communities and do the same model. Now that we had a model, we could grow.
The application that's in it goes by now.
So South Africa, it's a huge country, but we're just in that one little part, but it still is such a solid representation of the heart and the ministry of Children's Cup, and that doesn't happen without great leadership. Right out of the gate, we had Courson stepped in to help lead what we were trying to do there.
I was born and raised in a small little town called Wesselsbron in the Free State. I went to a women's Bible study and they tell me, oh, you must meet this missionary. I said, what's a missionary? I don't know what is a missionary. What is missionaries doing? I didn't know. I felt at that moment, God, I wanted to have a house for the street kids. My heart was very much for street kids. And where lots of missionaries, when they come from overseas, wherever they're coming from, they will overnight in that house. So from that house, they will go to Mozambique, to Swaziland, to do whatever they need to do, or they will come back from a burnout and they will stay in that house for free. And then one day I asked them, so why do you not stay in Nelspruit and do some work here? Why do you guys always rush from here to some place? Then they tell me, oh, but our calling is not for Nelspruit, you know, we must, and then I didn't understand. Then one day, my pastor, Trifina, comes to me and she says to me, I had a dream about you. You will work one day with lots of children. And I look at her, I keep quiet because I thought for myself, you don't know what you say. Me, working with children, there's no way.
Praising your name forever, amen.
When I think about Courson, I see somebody that has truly brought Children's Cup South Africa online, and it's working because of her. She has a background trained in special needs ministry, special needs kids. Her husband is an architect. They are entrepreneurs. They work together really well, but their generosity isn't just because they're generous, it's because they have deep compassion. When she says, I see something in this, a situation, I listen, because she does tend to see things that many people don't see.
What is this? It's called bananas. All this plant is bananas. Yeah.
I've never seen this.
When I started with Children's Cup, I was sitting for a long time just at a care point, but I really wanted to know God's heart in all of that. And I really sat there and I asked the Lord, Lord, what do you want me to do at this care point? Me, what do you want me to do? And you know, God just said to me, bring back joy to my children. So every time I'm at a care point, I just think, how do I bring back joy to this little girl in front of me? You know, I play on when we was at Tonga, I played with this little girl, Thando. Dillon was also there, we playing with this. We was punching the ball, we did that, and the girl didn't want to talk, and we go outside. I said, okay, let's go outside, let me and you play. Now I'm bouncing the ball to her. And then she stepped forward, and she come and she stand in my shade. And she was like, I couldn't understand, but what I could hear was like, the sun is hot, let's go back inside. But it was so funny for me. And I thought to myself, you know, that is what joy is. You know, just to play with. She needed a friend that day. Her friend was not at the care point. And that is what joy is. It's just many other things that you can see as joy, that we all do. But you know, what is the one thing God says to us? He says, love. Love. You can love people even if you can't understand their language. You don't need to say, I love you. It's by your heart talks that language. And that pulls people to you. That pulls children to the care point. Why do you think children will come? They don't just come because of the rice that's there every day. Because there's no variety there. There's no chocolates, there's no gas, cool drink. There's rice. There's rice every day, 365 days a year. There's rice. Why did I come there? For the rice? No. But every day we speak Jesus over those children. Every single day we bring hope, we transform, we learn, we grow gardens, we play. That's what we do. And that's the beautiful story of Children's Cup.
Catch. Make like this.
So, Matt.
Yeah. Look at Jaden catch. Yes. Thank you.
We dream every day about the future of Children's Cup and where it's going to go. And just hearing stories from the kids on our trips, in conversations with our team, and you see the difference that is being made, you start to realize that even more can be done, and there are more kids out there that we can reach. That's why we're doing this. We've had the opportunity recently to go back into Zimbabwe, which is super exciting because that's where we started. And the need there, if you've followed news at all, you know that they've lived through a lot.
In Zimbabwe, you have a 94% unemployment rate. Poverty is one of the highest in the world, and the need is just is off the charts. I spent about a year going from project to project to find out where I believed the biggest need would be and the safest, getting one of the Children's Cups projects started, to which we selected a place in Concession, which is just kind of northwest of Harare, at a place called Dandamere. And we started our first, as of January 2025, officially we started our first Children's Cup project at Dandamere. If we have a look at the standard of living, we don't even meet the first bar of that standard. So the poverty, coupled with the drought, coupled with the political unrest, and then obviously the economic stress on the economy, filters down right the way through from the head of the household all the way down to the kids. The kids are affected because of the lack. They miss out on education. They end up becoming years and years behind their age in education. They live each day as to, well, what are we going to do today? Are we going to eat today, or are we only going to eat tomorrow? Now that pressure's on the parents, but it filters into the kids. But as far as the kids are concerned, that's kind of norm because they don't know any different.
For me personally as a teacher, I definitely have a heart to capture folk when they're young. And so this has been a really beautiful opportunity to be able to put my feet on the ground with Rory. It has been really great. We're dealing with a combination where the family is completely broken down. It is just completely broken down because you have very few parents now raising their children. So they're either on the street being raised by teenagers in the drug world, or aunties and uncles who don't care for them, but everybody's trying to make a living. And so these kids are not valued. And I think the lack of value in their lives is such a huge thing that they can, at 13, so many of them, their parents will sell them to the tap lines or to the the pimps or whatever you want to call them. So the parents will give them to them in order to go and make money. And they're 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. The general brokenness of the family is huge, where children are being raised in an environment without value. And you can have nothing, but you can have value. But they don't have value placed in them. And I think if we can get value placed in those kids from young, then we've done the kingdom service.
Karen's heart is one of the purest, one of the most gentlest, empathetic. She's a true mother, she's a true supporter, she's a stability in a time of crisis. And when you see her around kids, she should get the Mother Teresa Award. I mean, she's just unbelievable. I don't think there's any better person, especially for the people of Zimbabwe. Her heart it bleeds for the Zimbabwean people, especially the children. So Children's Cup came in to Dandomere with the 3 principles of hope, inspiring dreams, changing worlds. This is what hope looks like. We're going to feed you, we're going to clothe you, we're going to educate you, we're going to take care of the basic needs that you need. Then what we're going to do is we're going to teach you to dream. We're going to sit there and we're going to ask you to draw things on a piece of paper, because sometimes the visual aspect is a lot better than the talking aspect. Where do you think that you would like to be in the next 1 month, 4 months, 6 months to a year? Where do you see you as a person? When I ask that question of the kids, they don't know what I'm talking about. And that's the scary thing, is they don't know what you're talking about when you ask them, what is your dream? And we had to now educate them and say, well, when you grow up, you've got an opportunity to become something, to become someone. And then what we want you to do is we want you to go out there and we want you to change somebody else's life. Be a world changer by going and saying, I was here, but now I'm here. And I'm going to take you and I'm going to walk you through and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. And I'm going to change your world and I'm going to give you this. And that's what we've seen at Dandomere through Children's Cup.
Those children that we were kicking the soccer ball with 40 years ago, are they now maybe doctors, policemen? Yes, it's about kids and feeding it, but also about the next generation, not just of us as children, but the next generation of leaders of these countries that we're working in. And are we giving them the opportunity to do more and make a success of their lives?
You know, when kids come into the gate, when we open the gates, because we open gates to many children. You know, children comes with not just to be hungry because I need food. They come hungry because they want a safe place. They want hope. They want love. That's why they come into our care points, isn't it? That's why they run. They run because they're free.
The meal isn't all a child needs. I think it's the consistency that Children's Cup offers. Even 20 years from now, there'll be a care point that's going to be the make or break of some of those kids, to break some of those generational curses or lifestyles or cycles.
I go to government offices, I would be asked to step aside and only to notice that was a care point kid. He will say, hey, I remember you, how can I help you? And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm not interested in you helping me. I want to know about your story. The footprints are all over the country. It's not just about kids. It's the families, it's the community, it's the country at large.
Zimbabwe is home. To come back now and give to our children, give back of myself to my people who have so little is special. It's really special.
You will see the dreams on the pictures that they've painted and they've stuck all over the classroom wall. The best prizes, the best gifts, the best of anything that you could ever get is to actually see that you can actually change a life as long as you're willing to invest in it.
And the important piece of all of this is the relationship with friends. Kids don't change because of a program, they change because of people and connections. So it's not just the friendships and connections of our staff at the care point, it's the connections of our friends who is on the other side, just cheering them on, giving them that encouragement, letting them know they can make it, they can become something, and they have that hope they can change their world.
I'm no more valuable to God than a little kid in Eswatini at a care point who thinks he has no future. He doesn't love me more. So how could I take something like what we get to do with Children's Cup and not give it everything we got? Because we have the answer that kid needs. He needs hope. What God has shown me is he's got the resources. For him to drop $3 million on the floor right here in front of me would not bother him a bit. So why doesn't he do that? He just likes working through people. There's a lot of great joys when you see kids grow up and their lives are changed and they're inspiring dreams. But there's another great joy in seeing people get to be a part of that miracle. That's the joy of life.